A goofy sitcom about 7 castaways. That's all it looked like on the surface. But behind the palm trees and laugh tracks, Gilligan's Island was a hotbed of secret injuries, ruined careers, and fan confusion so extreme the Coast Guard got involved. What really happened behind the scenes will make you see this innocent comedy in a whole new way. Here are 13 facts you never knew. Number 1. How a CEO's wife destroyed Gilligan's Island overnight. Gilligan's Island was supposed to get a 4th season. The cast was even told the renewal was official, and some bought houses in Los Angeles to settle in for long-term work. Then, without warning, CBS axed the show. Can you guess the real reason? CBS President William Paley's wife, Babe Paley, adored Gunsmoke, the aging Western drama struggling in the ratings. When she heard her favorite show might be canceled to make room for Gilligan's Island, she was furious. She demanded her husband save Gunsmoke. He did, and Gilligan's crew paid the price. In an instant, CBS canceled Gilligan's Island to clear the schedule. The cast learned the news the same way the public did. From trade magazines. There was no warning, no farewell episode. Production stopped cold, leaving storylines stranded forever. Bob Denver later called it the most ridiculous cancellation in TV history. Fans were outraged. Letters flooded CBS headquarters demanding the show's return. Executives ignored them. Gilligan's Island, a series that would later make CBS over $100 million in rerun revenue, was sunk, not by ratings but by a powerful socialite's personal taste. One decision, one demand, and a TV empire vanished overnight. Number 2, the star who hated Gilligan's Island more than anyone. Tina Louise, who played the glamorous movie star Ginger, wanted Gilligan's Island to showcase her character's fame and complexity. Instead, she felt reduced to a shallow punchline. From day one, she clashed with producers, skipped rehearsals, and distanced herself from the rest of the cast. She later admitted she believed the role damaged her career, and she may have been right. After the series ended, Tina refused to appear in reunion movies, specials, or even fan conventions. Other actresses were eventually hired to play Ginger in reboots because Tina wanted nothing to do with it. But here's the twist. Fans adored her performance. Ginger became a pop culture archetype, the glamorous Hollywood icon stuck on a deserted island. Even if Tina resented the role, her charisma on screen made Ginger unforgettable. It's one of television's great ironies. The actor who wanted nothing to do with her part ended up creating the most iconic stranded diva in TV history. Number 3, the day the cast was stranded for real. Life imitated art in a way nobody expected. During a promotional shoot off the California coast, CBS rented a small charter boat for the cast. It was supposed to be a quick job, just a few minutes of scenic footage for credits. But thick fog rolled in, the boat drifted off course, and suddenly the actors were living their roles for real. For hours, the cast floated aimlessly in open water, still dressed in their costumes. Bob Denver, Gilligan, tried to lighten the mood, joking, "Well, now we know how it really feels." But behind the laughter, there was fear. When the Coast Guard finally arrived, rescuers were stunned to find a man in a skipper's hat barking orders on deck. The incident was so unsettling that CBS banned open water shoots afterward, forcing all future ocean scenes into tanks and soundstages. For the cast, it was a chilling reminder that comedy could turn to reality in an instant. And the strangeness didn't stop there. During the show's original run, the Coast Guard received real letters from viewers begging them to save the marooned castaways. Some fans even sent coordinates, convinced Gilligan and the others needed help. Officials eventually had to issue a statement clarifying it was just a TV show. It sounds absurd today, but it proved the power of 1960s television. Gilligan's Island blurred the line between fiction and reality so completely that people tried to launch actual rescue missions. For a few surreal hours, on the sea and in the minds of fans, the castaways weren't just on television. They were real. Number 4. The Skipper's Secret Broken Arm. Alan Hale, Jr., the booming, barrel-chested skipper, was supposed to be the comic anchor of Gilligan's Island. But one accident nearly exposed just how fragile the island fantasy really was. During filming, Hale slipped while climbing a prop coconut tree and came crashing down. The result? A severely broken arm. Any other actor would have rushed to the hospital and halted production for weeks, but Hale made a choice that stunned everyone. He told no one. The very next morning, he pulled on his sailor's uniform, forced a grin, and went to work. He feared the crew would lose their jobs if production stopped, and he refused to be the reason dozens of people couldn't feed their families. Costume designers were forced to improvise, covering his swollen arm with long sleeves, while directors avoided close-ups that revealed how stiffly he moved. Watch carefully, and you'll notice him favoring one side, holding himself awkwardly. It was agony, hidden in plain sight. Producers only learned the truth once the season wrapped. They called it one of the most selfless acts they had ever seen. On screen, the skipper was the group's protector. Off-screen, Alan Hale, Jr. proved he was exactly that. Number 5. The cast made millions for CBS, but were left penniless. You know, Gilligan's Island has been on television for more than 50 years. By the 1980s alone, reruns had generated over $90 million in syndication revenue for CBS and the producers. Today, with streaming, cable licensing, and DVD sales, the show has easily brought in hundreds of millions worldwide. And yet, the 7 castaways who made it iconic earned absolutely nothing from it. Their contracts, signed in 1964, reflected a brutal Hollywood norm. Actors were paid only during the original run. No residuals, no royalties. Once the show ended in 1967, the paychecks stopped forever. Bob Denver later admitted, "I saw my face on TV every day, and I got $0 from it." Meanwhile, CBS executives cashed in on the rerun boom. By the 1970s, Gilligan's Island was airing in nearly every American city daily. Overseas sales doubled the profits. But the actors were locked out completely. The fallout was devastating. Dawn Wells, beloved as Mary Ann, ended up so broke in her 70s that she turned to fans for help. A GoFundMe raised $180,000 to cover medical bills and living costs. For audiences, it was shocking proof. The cast who built a cultural empire were left destitute while the network they made rich grew fat off their work. It remains one of Hollywood's cruelest scandals. Fame without fortune, paradise without a paycheck. Number 6. The nuclear island that almost happened. Believe it or not, Gilligan's Island was originally pitched as a much darker show. One of the earliest drafts placed the castaways on an island used for nuclear testing. Yes, Geiger counters, fallout warnings, and government planes flying overhead were meant to be part of the comedy. CBS quickly killed the idea, fearing audiences wouldn't laugh at radiation poisoning. But traces of the darker tone lingered. Early set designs included bunkers and barbed wire. Even the pilot script mentioned government aircraft and restricted zones. Some early episodes still carry that eerie, heavy mood. Imagine if the sitcom had leaned into this dystopian angle. Gilligan's Island might have gone down as one of the strangest Cold War comedies in TV history. Instead, CBS steered it into coconut radios and slapstick antics. The thought of Gilligan fumbling through nuclear fallout is almost absurd. Yet it nearly happened. Number 7. The lagoon that smelled like death. Viewers saw paradise. The actors smelled chemicals. The famous lagoon wasn't some tropical haven in Hawaii. It was a man-made pool behind a CBS soundstage. To keep it looking blue and exotic, the crew dyed the water and surrounded it with palm trees and fake birds. But there was a price. The water often reeked from the chemicals used to treat it. On hot days, the stench was overwhelming. On cold mornings, the water froze the actors to their bones. Worse, nearby freeways and police sirens constantly ruined takes, forcing endless reshoots. Despite these miserable conditions, the illusion worked. Most fans had no idea the island was just a backyard pool. When the lagoon was finally drained in the 1990s, workers even found buried set pieces rotting in the muck. For the cast, though, the smell and sickness of that lagoon became one of their most haunting memories. Number 8. A hidden Cold War metaphor nobody saw coming. At first glance, Gilligan's Island looks like harmless slapstick. But some pop culture scholars and fans argue it was actually a metaphor for Cold War America. According to this theory, every castaway represented a piece of American society. The skipper was the military. Gilligan was the bumbling but well-meaning public. The professor stood for science and intellect. Ginger was Hollywood, vain, glamorous, obsessed with status. Mary Ann symbolized the wholesome heartland. Mr. Howell embodied big business, and Mrs. Howell represented inherited wealth. Together, they were a dysfunctional but balanced microcosm of America, stuck in isolation, trying to move forward but never escaping. Even the island itself mirrored America's isolationist stance during a tense global era. Did the creators intend it? No one knows, but the parallels are impossible to ignore. Suddenly, a goofy sitcom about coconuts becomes a sharp reflection of society's struggles during one of the most dangerous decades in history. Number 9. The theme song scandal that almost tore the cast apart. When Gilligan's Island first hit TV screens in 1964, its theme song instantly became a pop culture earworm. But listen closely to that first version, and you'll hear a betrayal. Two key castaways, the professor, Russell Johnson, and Mary Ann, Dawn Wells, weren't even named. Instead, the lyrics brushed them off with a dismissive phrase, "and the rest." Johnson and Wells were outraged. They weren't side characters, they were central to the group dynamic. Being excluded from the theme song wasn't just insulting, it erased them from the cultural identity of the show, and the tension backstage was boiling. Then Bob Denver, Gilligan himself, shocked CBS executives. He refused to stand by quietly. Denver threatened to walk off the show, refused to report to set, and demanded that his co-stars be recognized. Without Gilligan, there was no show, and the network knew it. Under pressure, CBS relented. By season 2, the theme song was rewritten to finally include The Professor and Mary Ann. A single lyric change restored dignity and rewrote television history. Today, fans can't imagine the song without them, and it only exists because Gilligan staged a secret rebellion that nearly shut down the island forever. Number 10. The only star who beat the contract trap. Every actor on Gilligan's Island was robbed by unfair contracts, except one. Dawn Wells, who played Mary Ann, managed to outsmart the system thanks to her husband at the time, talent agent Larry Rosen. He noticed that her contract limited rerun payments to just the first 5 rebroadcasts. Rosen insisted she demand an amendment. The producers, confident the show wouldn't last, agreed without a fight. But the show became a syndication monster. For decades, Wells earned royalties while her co-stars got nothing. It wasn't millions, but it was steady income that made her the only cast member to benefit long-term. Fans often saw her at conventions, still beloved, still signing autographs, while others quietly struggled financially. It's one of Hollywood's greatest ironies. The girl next door was the only one savvy enough to secure a future from a show that cheated almost everyone. Number 11. Ginger's vanishing act from every reunion. Fans always dreamed of seeing the entire cast together again, but one person was always missing: Tina Louise. While the rest of the cast embraced their roles, Tina avoided them like the plague. She refused reunion movies, documentaries, and even the famous Roseanne tribute episode in the 1990s. Producers eventually had no choice but to recast Ginger with new actresses for TV specials. Fans noticed instantly. Ginger just wasn't Ginger without Tina. But Tina herself never looked back. She insisted the role typecast her and ruined bigger opportunities. The irony? Even as she distanced herself, her Ginger became immortal. Halloween costumes, parody sketches, and endless reruns kept the glamorous diva alive, without Tina's blessing. Her refusal added an almost mythic mystery around her. Why hate the role that made you famous? For Tina Louise, Ginger was the curse she could never escape. Number 12. The Professor was a real-life war hero. Russell Johnson, the calm, brilliant professor, wasn't just playing smart. He had survived war. During World War II, he served as a bomber pilot in the Pacific. His plane was shot down over the Philippines, and Johnson was badly injured, earning a Purple Heart. Many of his crewmates didn't survive. After the war, Johnson used the GI Bill to study acting. On set, his military discipline showed. He memorized technical dialogue flawlessly and even revised scripts to make his inventions sound more credible. The crew nicknamed him One Take Russ because he nailed his lines without mistakes. He also had a sharp, dry humor that broke the tension during filming. Fans adored him not just as a character, but as a man who had faced real danger and lived to bring intelligence and calm to one of TV's silliest shows. Johnson once said, "If I had to be remembered for something, I'm proud it was the Professor." His strength and quiet heroism gave Gilligan's Island a grounding force in a sea of slapstick. Number 13. Mrs. Howell's shocking age secret. Natalie Schafer, who played the glamorous and wealthy Mrs. Howell, kept a secret from everyone, even her fellow cast members. She never revealed her real age. To the world, she seemed like a sprightly socialite in her 50s. But when she died in 1991, documents revealed she was born in 1900. That meant she was already in her 60s during the show, 13 years older than her on-screen husband, Jim Backus. Her vanity wasn't just about appearances. She worried that if Hollywood executives knew her real age, she'd lose roles. So she lied, successfully, for decades. Even in her later years, she clung to the Mrs. Howell persona. One famous story says she once threatened the phone company during a service outage by declaring, "Do you know who I am? I am Mrs. Howell from Gilligan's Island." The line got her phone fixed immediately, and she signed autographs for the repairmen. Her age secret added to the mystique. Fans loved Mrs. Howell's eccentricity, never realizing the actress herself was playing her own game of survival in Hollywood. Gilligan's Island looked like paradise, but its secrets were anything but. Which truth stunned you most? Tell us in the comments, like the video, and subscribe for more hidden Hollywood stories.